So what needs to happen? Huh? What did you say, 222?
Yeah.
What was it before? Oh, so it's down 50, huh? You said 222? How long ago did you have your? So that's looking at this first page here, let's see. Mrs. Stone says you're okay. Perfect. All right. Starting off here at the beginning here, anybody have questions on the first page, just so I don't have to keep switching back and forth? Kels?
Number 7. I think there's 2 20 and you said 2 bits.
This one.
Oh, maybe I did I say the wrong answer?
Oh, that I got 2.
Let me take a look. Hold on a second. Just getting bigger. Number 7, you said I said something wrong, which happens quite a bit. 8% is a reduced fraction as a decimal. You'd end up with, first of all, as a fraction, it's 8 over 100. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Which reduces down to, you're probably right. 4 goes into both of them, so we divide them both by 4. You end up with 2 over 25. What did I say?
2/5.
Oh, wow. And then as a decimal, 8 over 100 is 8 hundredths. I think we're going to have issues with the board today. Maybe I'm a little too big. Let's go smaller and see if that does anything. Other ones, I'm sorry about that. Jacob?
I keep getting confused on the values, the new one. Like how to find them.
So are you asking about problem 8?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, listen carefully, children. As long as the shape is a rectangular prism, as long as it is a box, feel free just to use the old length times width times height. You're just going to multiply those 3 numbers together. The deal with a box is, in a box you could call any side could be its base. Because in a box you could slice it like a loaf of bread in 3 different directions, so it doesn't matter. You should have the box drawn. Where was it? It was 3 by 12 by 18. 3 by 12 by 18. It doesn't matter. You're going to multiply 3 and the 12 and the 18 together, or the 18 and the 12 and the 3. So, you know, those volumes are meant for shapes that are not boxes. It still holds true that, you know, if it's a pentagonal prism or whatever, that's when you use that. So this is just going to be 3 times 12 times 18. Now this one, it said, what's the outside surface? What is the print surface area of the box? So again, you would draw the box. This is 10 inches by 2 inches by 7 inches. 10 by 2 by 7. What does surface area mean? It's the area of all the sides. Okay. How many sides does this shape have? Every box has 6 sides, so I would write those down. You've got a front and a back which are identical. Here's the front. The back is back here that you can't see. But on a cereal box, you know, you look at the front. How many of you go right to the back? I always go to the back to see what they say on the back. They're the same size. You've got a right side and a left side. Here's your right side. Got all the nutritional information on it, and then the other side usually has something else on it. And then you've got this top and the bottom. You need to find the area of all 6 of those things and then add it together. The nice thing is they're identical, so you really don't have to do 3 different problems and then double themselves. What is the area of, let's say, the front? The front would be 10 times 7. So what do you have? 2 70s. What is the area of the right side? It is 2 times 7, which is 2 14s. What is the area of the top or the bottom? 2 times 10, which is 20. So you just have to add 70 plus 70 plus 14 plus 14 plus 20 plus 20, and you should get it there. 140 plus 40, 180. 180 plus 28 is probably 208. Whatever it is, inches, square, because it's area. And that is a cube time. Just that easy. Just that easy. Luke,
I don't get number 2.
number 2. Yeah, number 2, children, is nothing more than multiplication and then figuring out the nearest cent what that is here. If you bought, and this is 10.2 gallons at 2.189 cents per gallon, is everybody good with that it's a multiplication problem? Okay, so you just gotta make sure you do your multiplication right. I always put the number that has the fewer digits in it on the bottom. Make sure that I take my time to multiply this. The decimals don't have to line up. You just multiply as is. 102 times 2,189. 2 times 9 is 18. 16 plus 1 is 17. 2 plus 1 is 3. So you end up with that 4,371. This one's all going to be zeros. So you might as well put down 4 zeros if it helps you. Okay?
Wait, wouldn't it be 5 zeros? Yeah. Because you.
Doesn't matter. Sure. 5 zeros if that helps you. 5 zeros, 4 zeros ain't gonna change my answer. Now, here's where a lot of people get stuck. What do I start off with here when I do the 1? Yeah. It's in the hundreds place, so you put 2 zeros down before you even start multiplying. Okay, just think about it this way. You just drop 2 zeros down because it's like multiplying by 100. And then it's just 1 times 9, 1 times 8, 1 times 1, and you get that 2 there. Adding them all together, you end up with 8, 7, 2, 3, 2, 2. And before we did this problem, you should have at least got a guess as to how much it would be close to. If you buy 10 gallons at $2 a gallon, what should your answer be close to? $20. So in my end, I should come up with 20 something. If I get 2,000, then I know I did something wrong. How many decimal places are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back 1, 2, 3, 4. 22.3278. Which would be great if we had a coin that was 10,000ths of a cent. But we don't. We only go up to pennies, which is this place here. So you should right now think to yourself, my answer is either $22.32 or $22.33. And which is it going to be and why? Christian?
Well, I have a question.
Which one is it going to be and why first? Eli? 33 because of this 7. Because the next number over is bigger. If I were bigger, you add 1. But the gas station's not going to take the hit for you. Okay? Even though it's only 100th of a cent, it's only a penny. If you get 1 million people in there and you give them all a penny back, how much is 1 million pennies? A lot of money. I don't know for sure. Now, Christian, what's your question?
I figured out what I did wrong. That's what I was.
By the way, it would take 100. It would take 100. If we had a coin, it would take 100 of these to make 1 penny. It would take 100 of them to make just 1 cent. How much would that be worth? Imagine paying the gas station with whatever they're called. We should make up our own money. Yes, here you go.
I don't understand how to do number 15.
Let's stay on this page if we can. Any other questions on, just so I don't have to keep looking back? Yep.
I don't know, like, how to do number 3 or 4, like, I forgot.
Did you do ratio boxes? Because
Yes,
I'm
I
pretty sure
did.
that's what it'd be for the first one.
I
anyways.
did.
Here's the deal with problem number 3. What are you comparing there, Al?
3, 2, or no, 1,
Right, wins to losses. Here is the difference though. They're giving you also a total number of games played. So the ratios are wins to losses out of totals. So your ratio box actually has another box to it. You know that 3 wins, 2 losses, how many games is 3 wins and 2 losses? If you won 3 games and lost 2 games, how many games did you play? 5. So there is your ratio part. What is the actual thing? Well, the only thing we know is we played a total of 30 games. So how many did we win? Well, these are equal fractions. They don't ask you about how many did you lose, so you don't need that. 3 over 5, this 3 over this 5 has to equal that over that. Equals what number over 30?
I think that would have been wrong. I did 2 over 5 instead of 3 over 5.
So times 6, that's where the 18 hopefully comes from on your paper. Number 5 is a probability problem, or what? If you say 4,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's the same thing. Bag contains red marbles and blue marbles. 3 red, blue. You might as well start putting totals on all these. You may not need it, but sometimes you do. 3 red, 2 blue, again 5 total. If there are 24 red marbles, how many blue marbles are there? You didn't need total on this one, but you got it there. So 3 over 2 equals 24 over what number? What do you multiply 3 by to get 24? 8. So 2 times 8 is 16. 16 is right. And then number 5, while we're there, just because, if only 1 marble is drawn from the bag, what's the probability that the marble is blue? Well, how many blue marbles are there? 2. How many total marbles are in the bag? 5. There's your probability. Huh? No, probability, unless they ask you, unless they specifically give you the choice, is it likely or unlikely? You have to put, they ask you probability, you're not gonna use words, you're gonna use fractions. Chance will be percent, probability will be fractions. Luke?
I didn't get number 14.
Alright, on the first page again. When we're all done with the first page, we'll flip to the second. Nobody has any questions on problem number 10? Problem number 6? No. Knowing that a pyramid goes to a point, a square base, here's your square 3-dimensional base, it's a pyramid, so it comes to a point there. Edges are the little corners of this thing, so it has 1, 2, 3, 4 that come up to the point, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 that go around the bottom of the base. Nobody has any issues with scientific notation and how to write that in standard form? Are you asking and saying yes, Adam? Somebody tell me what I have to do to change that in standard form. It doesn't get too much easier than that. Peter?
The decimal place right.
Exactly. Whatever this number is how many places you move the decimal right. Why is that? Somebody tell me why that is? Nobody can tell me why it is? What is 10 to the 5th power? 10 to the 5th power is a 1 with 5 zeros after it. So I'm really multiplying 1.86 times this. Well, we learned before with our mental math, you just move the decimal however many zeros there are. There's 5 zeros, so the decimal just gets moved 5 places. So there's 2 of the 5 places, right? 1, 2 to there. Add 4, 3, 4, 5 places. 186,000. Now everybody's very excited about moving on to the second page. Who is over there? Michael Bluell.
I don't understand how I got number 13 wrong.
Problem 13, a 6-foot diameter circular table. You're kidding me. You drew the circle, right?
Yes.
Perfect. You labeled it as a 6-foot diameter, correct?
Yep.
Everybody's happy? Has an area, and you wrote down the formula for the area of a circle, which is,
Pi times radius times radius.
and they told you what they wanted pi to be, which is 3.14. What's the radius?
9 or 3.
Right. Did I read this answer wrong? Because I don't see yet where we're making, I'm sorry. 3 times 3 is 9, so you should have gotten 3.14 times 9, which is 36, 12, 28.26. Did I read the answer wrong, or did you do something wrong?
No, but I put it as 28 because it said about
Now, they will tell you, here's, I understand, Michael, why you do that, why you get that wrong, okay? Because sometimes they tell you to round your answer. The reason why it's still about that is because that is about what pi is. In other words, they let you use 3.14 as an approximation or a close thing for pi, where pi really, if you were gonna get closer than pi, you'd have to use all of those digits right there. So, about, unless they tell you to round your answer to the nearest whole number or whatever, if they say about in this situation, you still have to do it out to that part there, because it still is about. This is not exactly sure if it's close. Trouble is his middle name. Yes, which other problem did you have trouble
Is
with
it
there?
pi an infinite number that just goes on and on?
Yes, we call that an irrational number in our world.
Oh, kind of like teens.
Yes, they're all irrational.
Just curious, because you said that's that number, but that number isn't infinite.
Okay, it's that infinite irrational number that we use for pi, because it doesn't really.
Just clarifying.
People have actually done it out to, I don't know, 1,000,000 decimal places or whatever. I don't know what number they get it from. That's the curious thing. What number are they dividing to get that? Where do they come up with pi to be used? That's
What
what I
is
think.
pi?
It's a
Delicious
delicious
dessert.
food.
Greek letter for whatever that is. Grace,
I don't understand how I got number 8.
18 children, 18. Grace, what did you do first at number 18?
I did the side of the square root.
And what did you get when you added or took 25 minus 16?
I got 9.
Alright. So this whole thing became a 9. What is the square root of 9?
3.
Okay, 3. So now I have a -5 plus 3 over 2, correct? What is -5 plus 3?
-2.
Correct. And what is a -2 over 2? Negative divided by negative is a -1. Did I read the answer wrong for that one?
Oh, sorry.
I'm glad I'm hearing all the O's. That was not terribly difficult. Even David, I think, might have gotten that with his math team number 2 finish, number 1 finish.
I'm always a champion.
He was on the math team?
Yeah, that was hard for me to believe too, but. Yeah.
Wait, who said that? My cousin?
What?
My cousin asked that?
Yeah, that was funny.
That's like the other day when they were like, hey, do you want to coach a boys volleyball team? And I said, and they go, oh, you probably weren't good at boys volleyball.
You were good up until you played football at the state tournament.
I was state MVP. I don't understand what the deal
Hey, were
is.
you?
I was state MVP.
Even though we lost?
What?
Even though we lost?
Even though we lost, I was state MVP.
Do you still have the medal?
I broke the
You
record.
liar.
I broke the record for most kills in a tournament.
Sure.
Last
Maybe he'll
I
bring you some
did.
video or something, I don't know.
Because in the championship game, I scored every point, and then it was downhill after that because I started this serve and we scored 7 straight points and then we're done. That was it. That's all we scored after that.
Really?
I
It was
need
25 to 7 or 21?
It was
That was back in the day of rally, not rally scoring, but
serve receive.
how about that? Little known fact. So somebody's approached you about coaching boys volleyball?
Yeah, Northwest.
Oh, Drew?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, because Peter's,
That sounds like some.
Peter gave me a letter like I need
I
convincing
heard there
that,
was a petition.
that we have a, like, I don't want a
Yes.
boys volleyball team. I was gonna respond back to him, well, that's fine, as long as you can find 2 things, number 1, a person to coach, and number 2, teams to play. That usually hinders us a little bit.
Well, it's
There are
tournaments
some
played, it's
teams.
not teams.
There are some teams out there if you really.
If you would call.
But suddenly we digress and we only have 15 minutes to figure out a math test here, so.
Guys, focus.
We are.
Nadine, number 14. Don't look at it as you not knowing how to do it, look at it as you not understanding it. Write this on your notes if you're keeping notes for yourself, people. This, you need the Pythagorean theorem. And I understand how you would get confused because I've always told you to look for the Pythagorean triple and you see a 3 and a 5 and you go, oh, there's a 3 and a 5 up here. But what you must understand is that this 5 is the biggest number in the Pythagorean triple. It's a 3, 4, 5. The 5 has to be the hypotenuse, which is this longest line. And since it's not the hypotenuse, this Pythagorean triple does not apply to this. So you have to actually write it out as the a squared plus b squared equals c squared thing. How many of you put 4 down as your answer? Yeah. It's a pretty easy way to get confused, but that's why it said this. That's why it told you it's an irrational number. Okay, yeah, that's still not an irrational number. There is no way, by the way, to make, Ryan, 4 an irrational number. No matter what you do to 4, it's always rational. You can make it a fraction, you can even make it the square root of 16, it's still rational. Okay? So plugging that into this thing here, you get 3 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. What's 3 times 3? 5 times 5? 9 plus 25 is, and you're not allowed to leave it as c squared equals 34 because we want to know what c equals. And we talked about that a lot. If c squared equals 34, c is going to equal the square root of 34. And because there is no square root of 34, that's what makes it irrational. If you stuck this in a calculator, what would you get? Something like something less than 6, 5 point something that would go on forever. It'll be a decimal that never repeats and never ends.
Do you guys use calculators?
No.
Oh, thank the Lord.
At some point we may, but not, I mean,
Kelsey.
I don't use it for math. I use it on science.
I went to high school and people looked at me like I was strange that I'd never used a calculator before.
and how did you compare to those people you went to high school with?
Or I smoked them.
Let's see, he was number 1 in the math contest, the MVP
No.
for volleyball.
I went to Newark for high school. Smoking people in
What
math
else did he
was
do?
not that
I
hard.
think he's lying about all of it.
Knowing how to do like fractions was better than most people at Newark.
I
Am I
think
going
you're
to-
lying.
Anybody going to Newark here? Okay.
I've never seen this.
Moving on, Ariel, we got like 10 minutes here, we got to finish up. We got 15. I suppose that was out at the bottom. Didn't I just do 15? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Oh, I think we can clear this up rather quickly here, Ariel. If you go back to the, you go back to my little saying that I said, I'll tell you this a bazillion times here, anytime there's a fraction in front of a letter, ring a bell. Anytime you're solving the equation and there's a fraction you need to get rid of in front of that letter, Grace, you have to just flip and multiply. 2 over 1, 2 over 1. This crosses out, you're left with simply 4 seconds. Anytime your last step, you can do that. Did I do something wrong?
No.
Eli,
What was number 17?
anybody what was 17? Let's do it just because we asked.
0.
If you simplify the top of this fraction here, children, you can't do anything with the negative 12. But here you have how many negatives? Which makes it a positive. 3 times 4 is 12. On the bottom, 2 negatives make it positive. Negative 12 plus 12 is 0.
Oh.
Over 12 is still 0. Loops.
I didn't get number 12.
We already did 12.
Wait, did? Wait, no, number. Did 12?
No, I just need to pay attention. How about this, children? When they ask you how far a wheel turns or rolls, what should be the first thing that comes to your mind, Kelsey? Yes. Anytime you talk about the distance something goes when it makes one turn or a revolution or whatever, this is going to be circumference. So we draw our little whatever it is. Alexa, you did that right?
Yeah.
You wrote 30 inches in as the diameter?
Yeah.
And you are looking for its circumference. And the formula for circumference is pi. And again, this is why, Michael, did you round this? It says about again because 3.14 is about what pi is. That is actually the shortcut you only get there. 3.14 Alexa times 30 is, I hope, 90.2 inches. Is that right?
Yes.
94.2 inches. Which is a relatively long. Did my cable come in yet? I could go look. Quick update. See if I can find it here.
I'm trying not to distract you right now, so you can.
Why won't it let me know that?
We kind of already distracted us.
Could be a little on the too late side.
Yeah, we only have like
Any other ones in that whole mess? We might be close to the end. Nobody has an issue with problem
I have
11?
19.
19. Yep, there we go. What did you get?
Well, I just did it because I had no idea how to.
Multiplying the numbers together, 3 times 2 is multiplying the numbers together.
6.
X squared times an x. You have x squared, which is x times another x is, no, that's x cubed.
Okay.
3x is what you get when you add x plus x plus
Okay.
x. When you multiply x plus x plus x, you get x cubed. And then y times y is not 2y, it is y squared. And that would be that. Ryan, anything else? You got all the rest of them right? Just checking for tomorrow's test. Tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the expansion. Anything else?
Wait, are we already math?
We do have math tomorrow. Why
What
wouldn't
time is it? Electronics day.
we? Electronics doesn't start till 11:20.
Um,